That's legit.
All right, we're back. All right, so we gotta finish this shit. Um, so was Truck doing anything on this journey?
Um, I think along the way, since he's taking Rover with him,
Hmm.
I'm trying to figure out a way to make it less than or more than just a mundane anchor. Is that something I can do with? Can I up his power level,
You
for
can.
lack of a better word? Okay.
We'll look at treasure. Um, do do do. So basically, just create a miracle. So we have to find the one that lets you create miraculous anchors out of nothing. Um,
There's getting miraculous help is 7. Um,
uh,
Weaponizing is 5. I don't know if that's what you're looking.
no. Yeah. Difficulty is 6. Claim a miraculous anchor to take something inherently miraculous, something on your level that could possibly take you in a fight and bind it to yourself, or maybe you upgrade an ordinary or wondrous anchor. So it's
Oh,
difficulty
there it
6 to make a old you into a wondrous anchor. I mean, a miraculous anchor.
is. Okay, that's what I'm going to do, and I'll do it before we leave the chancel, and it's free. So
Sure. I mean, obviously, it says something about you. It is you. Um,
right.
it has a core power. There's a thing that it does. It is simple, miraculous, and deep.
Um, I think I'll just emphasize what it did in the first place. It persuades people to move on.
Okay.
Like,
We probably should also determine what your other things do, but we'll do that later. Persuades something to move on. I'll say it's miraculous. Okay. Yep, that's all it takes. So yeah, you infuse your power into it, and I think like it'll stay with you, most of the part, most of the journey. But when it sees the
Mhm.
city in the distance, it's just gonna shoot off and explore it.
Well, that's fine. That satisfies a need of mine too, because I like to explore things, but I can't because I have shit to do. So I
Sure.
can keep an eye on him and.
So if you want to experience what your anchor does, but not control it, there's a thing for that. Let me see if I can find it. It's level 2 treasure guidance. So you
Okay.
just can share its senses and its thoughts as it explores.
All right. I'm gonna write that in as an action. Like
Sure.
I'm continue that until I can drop that at any
Yeah,
time,
you can
right?
just drop it reflexively.
Okay.
So until we say otherwise, you're also experiencing what your anchor experiences.
I love
And I guess you
I love
experience,
limited omnipresence.
right? Um, Matt, do you want to define things about this area, this town or city or church is in?
Um, I mean, I know things about the church. I don't know as much um
Like a
about the
small
town.
rural town, medium
I think it's a
size.
large rural town. Like, I
Okay.
think it's the start. I think it's part of the, like, as you get closer and closer to cities in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
which we need to decide. So,
Yeah.
unless people have objections, is everyone okay with a Virginia?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Because we talked about being like coastal, right? Like,
Yeah, are we on the sea now?
I don't remember us discussing it one way or the other, so I'm fine either way.
I mean, we have traveled a large distance to the east, I assume.
yeah.
In my mind,
I mean,
it's
like
been to the east.
Right, like the actual physical geography of the real world in which we as players live in doesn't matter as much because the place where we are has been removed from reality.
Well, where we are now hasn't.
Right, yes, that's true. Yeah, like in my mind, we're like at this exact moment, like on the bowl Richmond,
Let me take a map.
which is like it's the central town in Virginia.
Okay.
Richmond, the capital of Virginia, is among America's old. Patrick Henry, a U.S. founding father, famously declared, "Give me liberty or give me death," at its St. John's Church in 1775, leading to the Revolutionary War.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But, even though I've been to Richmond, my memory is foggy. Okay. So, are we actually in Richmond? I don't think so. Right?
No, I think we're outside of Richmond.
Okay.
So I'm Google mapping this a little, but there's a highway that basically runs like a ring around Richmond called the 295.
Yep.
So there's like the physical city of Richmond, and then you hit the 295, and beyond that,
Sure.
there's like more rural communities, and I think we're in that area, or at least that's where I'd like the Cathedral of Saint Sebastian to be. I think that the Cathedral of Saint Sebastian is a Catholic church for a diocese that isn't like the city of Richmond, but is like a bunch of rural Virginia.
Can we be in Windsor right now? And then the road that disappeared is 460. It's a little bit south of Richmond.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I like the idea of placing this in a physical spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right down south near a place called Petersburg.
Windsor. Yeah, that's like right on the. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let's do that. That's great.
Windsor?
Wait, is Petersburg really that close? I remember Petersburg. Yeah, there's Petersburg. Petersburg was great.
Oh, nice. This is near the Great Dismal Swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's half of Virginia. Like once you get in past the tributaries and shit, it's pretty damn swampy.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, so yeah, I think we're not on the coast, but we can see the coast. Like we can see the city on the coast in the distance. It's very wet. There's lots of little rivers and stuff.
Right.
And it's a very hilly area with a lot of forest in places. I mean, according to satellite view, there's all kinds of forests.
Yeah. So, Golden, I think the town that we're in is Windsor, but I think the highway that like has disappeared is not the 460 because the 460 clearly shows up on this map. I think it's like
the 460 is the replacement highway.
Yeah, exactly. Like the highway that's just like the 320.
Okay. Yeah, and it still went between Windsor and Petersburg, but it actually it wasn't a straight line. It started off going like west and then curves north.
Sure.
Totally. Yeah, like I mean we could push this even further, right? We could say there used to be a highway that went from Norfolk to Petersburg.
Yeah, and that's where I was driving by because I had a meeting. I was either driving to a meeting or from a meeting.
Yeah, totally. Or like even from like Norfolk to Richmond. But like that highway no longer exists because a portion of it was like subsumed, and so now there's this like longer way about.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And nobody remembers the 320, right? Like the 320 effect.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Like history was rewritten so that there used to be a 320, but it like for one reason or another never took off, and they went with this instead.
Right.
Or
Totally.
the reasons for not to go to the 460 instead of the 320
Right.
were like maybe there used to be a mountain right near Waverly and it was gone.
I guess that's
totally.
what happened
Like,
to Jamestown. It just became a chainsaw one day.
right. The Senate of Virginia has actually last 10 years been like at various times had legislation tabled to build a direct highway from to Richmond
Right.
Yeah.
along the coast because that would be a nice thing. Like retroactively, this is now what is true.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. They're like, hey, we should really have a highway that connects two major cities.
Like, why didn't we think of that?
Why didn't we ever? Ah, that's weird.
Why can't we ever get funding
Yeah,
for it?
everyone's driving like down south through Suffolk to Emporia and north of like this seems like a longer trip than I remember.
Right, totally.
I like the idea that there's one guy in like Petersburg that still remembers, and he's like, no, there's a better way to do this.
Yes, like the chancellor, like it just missed one guy.
Totally.
Kind of like the witch in our chancel that missed one person from outside.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's amazing.
Everybody thinks he's crazy. He's like, no, there was a road. I know there was a road.
Yeah, he's like, here's the road, and it's like this old dirt road, and they're like, yeah, there's a road.
Yeah, this
I don't
clearly
think
not
even a
highway.
single car could fit down here.
Hopefully.
Perfect.
Okay, so yeah, so that's where we are. We're right now. We're in the town of Windsor.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Isle of Wight is right next to it. That's so appropriate. Okay.
Isle of Wight. That sounds exactly like a D&D Isle. Like,
It also exists in England. No?
Yeah, I'm sure it's named after the England place, which is fairly historical.
Mm.
But
anyways, we have half an hour.
right.
And
So
Game
yeah,
of
your
Thrones.
spirit is doing that, and you just get clothes at the store. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And you go to the
I
church.
think you know what I think happens? Quick thing, mini scene. We walk in to get clothes, and the guy is just staring open mouthed at me. No, I think he interacts with me normally. Immediately after I leave, the like old like 90s square box television comes on, and it's like now like back from our commercial break. Police are still searching for the missing man. It shows the face of like Robert.
Right.
It's like a $10,000 reward for
Yeah.
information.
Yeah, and it's like a recorded interview with his wife, with like Cynthia, who's like teary eyed, and she's like, and yes, it's the whole like classic,
Nice.
everything.
Perfect.
And and it just happens after he leaves, and the guy's just looking at it open mouth. The man or woman who was the clerk.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. Yeah, then you guys go to the church?
I think so. Yeah, we go in and probably sit in the back, on one of the back pews.
Sure. So you go to the church, there is a sermon.
Well, and hang on. Sorry. Like, I would, as the bishop of the church.
So there's another
like,
bishop.
Pardon?
There's another bishop.
Oh.
I'd imagine if like you've been gone it's been 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
if there wasn't another bishop, then there wouldn't have been any service last
Do
week while we
you
were stuck in
walk?
Space Whale.
Do you
No, I
walk
mean,
in?
like, there are deacons and there are others who. Like, it would certainly be a to-do that I was absent.
Okay.
Like, I don't
But,
know. Golden, tell us how you wanted this to play out.
So are you going to show up early or late? Midway through the
I'm
sermon?
going to show up, and my intention is to show up early enough to do the service.
Okay. So you show
And-
up.
yeah.
But I want it to be a ruckus. Like, I want people to be like, "Oh, he's here, and he's just acting normal." And
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
That's what-
okay.
that's
Like,
what I would
you've
like.
been missing, and no one in the whole town has seen you, and people are like, "Where were you?" And you're like, "Enough about that. Let's go on with this."
So that totally happens. But there's another bishop, like, ready with their speech and everything.
Oh,
ready to go,
unexpectedly.
and it's a woman as well.
That's
Okay.
weird. That's not a
That's
thing that
not
happens in the Catholic
okay.
Church. That's
Yeah, interesting.
So I guess while you're having this discussion, like there's so many people asking where you are and what's going on. You also hear somebody talking in the language of heaven off to the side of the church. And you look over there and there's two women discussing in hushed tones, but it's not in English or in any language of earth. One of them is wearing, I guess we'll say this white nun's dress. Not really a nun's dress. It's more like just some nice robes. And the other one is wearing like a white lab coat and has goggles around her neck. And they're discussing quietly.
What are they discussing?
You get
They're in the
close enough
language
to
of
listen
heaven.
in.
I don't know if we can notice. Do we understand the language of heaven?
Yes, you as Nobilis, you speak and understand every language automatically.
Okay. Can I eavesdrop on them from the other side of the church using my enhanced senses from the miracle I currently have
Sure.
active?
I mean, they're trying to be quiet.
That's,
So,
Yeah, I'd also like to do this, but just at an aspect 2 level. Pulp heroism.
all right, let me see. Let me look at this and see if it's good enough.
Yeah, it may not be.
It says I can do things like run on top of grass or balance on a thread. I think eavesdropping on something on the other side of the room would be
Yeah, I don't think
relatively
pulp
easy.
heroism is good enough unless you get close enough to be obvious. But at Primarch's level,
Legendary mastery, yeah.
you totally can.
Yeah.
And I just relay it back to you telepathically. I love it when one pronunciation is one way and the other pronunciation is the other way, depending on
Yeah,
how
it's
you
rough.
use the word.
Gotta love
And
English.
one of them is talking about so they're talking. It's like I've noticed that you're using this church to make changes in the greater Catholic faith, and I'm not sure why you're doing that. Like, they're trying to discuss, like, so you get another one's like, yeah, I know what you're doing, and I think it's good. With the meteor coming, this entire country is going to be flooded. So it's good that you're building this ark to keep everyone safe. But I'm not sure if we should, really have people talking at it at this point. Everyone's like, no, it's fine. I mean, you have to give people hope. And they're discussing, also, like, they're like trying to change the church to be more accepting of people of different identities. And they're like arguing over, what's the best way to do that.
Okay.
Go ahead, Primarch. Sorry.
No, I'm just re-emphasizing that I relay all this to you. I'm more interested in your reaction.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that I react. I think I'm listening to you, and then I think I introduce myself, email bishop, which is a new weird retroactive thing, and I introduce myself as Bishop Barrow, the bishop for the Diocese of Northern Virginia.
Okay, you emphasize, of course, the bishop.
Yeah, and I say, I don't believe we've met before.
I'm just trying to give her a name. I hate looking for names.
Angela.
I want like Lativa or something. Lavita.
Oh, okay.
Lavidia.
Lavita.
Lavidia. Oh, Livia. There we go. So her name is Livia.
Okay.
She says, "That's strange. I was confirmed as bishop 3 months ago. I've never heard of you. Who are you?"
How long have I been the bishop? This, I think, for some years now. I think I say, this cathedral has, and these people, have been my flock for some years. I've preached here every Sunday, since 2010. Say 2010.
Okay.
Seems fair.
So she seems to remember that she's given the masses here for the last 3 months.
Yeah.
And she gets really confused because, everyone else is still reacting to you and they remember you, but she doesn't. She's like, What's going on here? This is confusing. And I think at this point, the other two who are in their conversation notices that you're talking to the new bishop, and they start walking right towards you.
I stop them. I get right in front of them and say, "So, you are here messing with my friend's church without his knowledge or permission." I don't say it like threateningly, but I say it firmly.
And the woman in the white robes just says, "Well, it looked like a good opportunity. I didn't expect he'd be back." And everyone says, "It's okay, I'm sure you can manage this. There's no way he's going to have the time to live his noble duties and run a church."
And I think at that moment, I turn to Bishop Livia, and I say, "If you don't mind, I have had some time to prepare a sermon today, and I would be honored if you would allow me to lead the service this morning."
Do you have any bishop credentials you could show her?
Fuck, I don't.
You could
I don't know how that works.
Well, here's an idea I had. All the people seem to know you. You can describe probably describe in detail, effectively the stuff you've been bishoping in terms of this is what this person's been dealing with. This is every room in the church. This is here's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I don't think that's interesting.
She recognizes that you're important to the community somehow.
Denise's position here isn't to unseat her as a leader of the church here.
You just want to give the sermon?
Even though that's weird, I think I'm prepared to set an intention here.
Okay.
And I think I probably will. That what is it exactly? This is tough. I'm not trying to
I mean, she's not against you in any way. She just, this weird guy wants to give a speech.
Right. Yeah.
How do I know he really is qualified?
Yeah. I mean, I think what I do is I'm not trying to argue with her. Right. I think I'm going to turn to. No, you know what? Actually, it is Sue Hammond.
Oh yeah, the mother.
The very first scene.
Yeah.
Is there?
Is that even possible?
I mean, it is because she hasn't.
I don't remember her dying.
Cancel, can she? Unless she turns into a bird.
Yeah, is she a bird? And this here?
No, that's fine. It doesn't have to be.
It could be one of her sisters or something. It could be a relative of hers or something like that.
Yeah. I think I turned to 2 or 3 people standing. And I just like to, like, by way of engaging them in the conversation, like, use them to prove my credential.
Okay.
I like, my credentials are not like, I don't like church, like Catholic ID or anything like that, because I have no idea if that's a real thing in the world.
I have no idea.
But I think I'd just like to convince her that even though it's a last minute change to the service that she prepared today, that it would be okay for me to give the service today because these people know me. I had been at some time previously. They're the leader of their church, and that they want me to give the sermon today.
Yeah.
All right.
They were worried about you, and giving the sermon would help ease them.
Yes, totally, exactly.
So you have to set an intention level or use a miracle. I'll tell her that she's doing this at intention level 5 because she feels there's something important in her sermon that people need to hear today.
Yeah, that's fine. I have so many aspect miracle points right now. I'm just going to burst them.
Okay.
So to begin with, I can get to difficulty 2 by default, which is the equivalent of passion or skill plus 5, which I think my skill, my skill of sort of counselor or theology, either one, applies here, gets me to intention level 7.
For 2?
Because those are 2 plus the 5 that I get for invoking a Paul Paroism level of convincing people that I deserve to give a sermon today. The most pulp heroic of actions.
Yeah, okay. Sure. So your final level is 7?
It's 7, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess she steps down and she'll let you to give your sermon. The other 2, who at this point, Primarch, Robert can tell that they are nobles and powers like you.
I didn't hear you said they can, or I can or cannot.
You can tell.
Okay. They're nobilis, not imperators.
Right, they're nobilis like you.
Okay.
And they're going to, talk to their bishop on the side during the sermon.
Okay. And I think that, like, that's simultaneously happening as I was talking to them. I was going to make a witty response, but it's been so long that I can't remember exactly what both my response was and what I was responding to.
Right.
I make a witty response that is off screen.
Sure. Fantastic.
I think it was something like, right, I think they said, like, we didn't think he'd be back or something like that.
Right. He said they said that
time.
He wouldn't have time now that he's a noble.
Nobilis. And I think Robert just says, as the bishop, that is the woman bishop, steps down, and Robert begins to like starts everything. That he whispers to them. It looks like he has other ideas.
Yeah, they both look concerned, and
yeah,
they're obviously discussing what to do.
Yeah, Robert goes and still sits alone in the kind of isolated in the back pew, just watching.
Sure. So, do you actually have a speech for us, Phineas, or?
So I Matthew do not have a speech because I am not able to speak as effectively as Phineas can at aspect level 6.
Yeah, that's a miracle speech.
That's pretty reasonable. Okay. Yeah, most people can't do that.
But I am giving a speech. and I think there's
yeah, one of the best speeches that have ever been performed ever.
Especially in some rural county in
That's
Virginia.
where the best speeches happen.
Well, he is a bishop, so
but hang on. There are at least 3 powers here. Trek, do you arrive at this point? Like, because the service takes a little bit of time, right? Like, you have to, like,
Yeah, there's the singing
service
and
takes 30
the
minutes.
sermon.
Then you get to the sermon. Then there's another 30 minutes of.
Yeah, it's probably
Exactly.
somewhere in there. You probably hear this sports car pull up as
What?
Okay.
I've commandeered a driver to drive me up here.
Yeah.
You
If you're
just
gonna explore, do it in style and
hired
speed.
somebody to drag you around to church? That's pretty cool. I mean,
I
drag you around
didn't
the town?
hire them.
Yeah,
I
you possess them.
would like to possess.
Oh, you
someone
possess
on-
them? You don't just tell them, I'm going to
Yeah.
sit and be a passenger and you drive?
Nope.
Okay.
So here's the effect that I'm going. So at this moment, I would like to preach a new Christianity, which I
Okay.
guess is a thing that I can do.
You're going
Right.
to birth a new splinter religion.
Total. That is exactly what I'm
Awesome.
Or be a heretic. It depends on who wins. So
doing. Because heretics are losers, and I
Nice.
am doing this at miraculous level 6.
Okay.
You should go all the way for 9. Go for I can now always start new religions whenever I want to.
But I only really want to start one new religion,
True.
and it's not literally a new religion. So
Okay.
here is the gospel that I would like to preach and have be true in the world, and specifically, I would like several people to realize that this is a really good speech and to start filming it on their
Sure.
cameras and upload it to YouTube.
Yes.
So that's
Thread.
totally going to happen, but you're going to get in a debate with the new Bishop Livia. Because
for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's why everyone flips
Yeah.
on their cameras.
Totally.
and
Yeah.
she's
No, that's-
sitting there, but she's not defending the old church, but she's saying that the church can change in a
Mhm.
positive way, and you don't need to abandon the past. And
That's fair enough.
she's saying there's so many good things we can do, and she's talking about how since she's came here she's helped people come to terms with their identities. And
Is every single person, since they remember, I'm sorry to interrupt, but being that no one remembers her, but people do remember Phineas, how are the people reacting as she talks like this?
the people remember her being here for 3 months too, but nobody has really put it two together
They
yet.
just it's sort of either they don't really think about it or they
They
assume
don't really
they were
think
both
about
together.
the contradiction at this point.
That's awesome.
So
I actually don't know if there's a contradiction here.
well, you guys, the contradiction is that I think the power is using her as their anchor and doing a miracle through them as guidance to try and prevent you from splitting this church off into a splinter religion.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
So they want.
that's fair. Let me define the gospel.
Your intent. Yeah, let's define your intent.
Right.
And then you can tell me if this is something that they're reacting to.
Okay.
Because I think that the
They're trying
gospel
to
that
defend their work, basically.
right. That's fair. I think what I'm saying, as a player, I think what I'm saying is I'm not sure that I'm disagreeing with them or trying to stop them necessarily. But I think that the gospel that I'd like to preach, and actually this is primarily for Robert, right? Is there is a world that is greater than the one that we as humans know. The only thing that we can be certain of is the bonds between each other,
Okay.
because those are real and felt, right? And that by acting truly and respectfully and with the best of intentions towards each other, we can secure our place in a just world,
Okay.
But that in order to do so, we must like engage with, right? We must be in the world. We can't merely we can't be reclusive. We can't step back from the world. We can't engage merely with the church community. That the true love of God, the true act of compassion, the true act of Christianity is an outward act rather than an inward act.
Okay. Yeah, so I think these two miracles, like, they combine, and we get kind of a synthesis between them, where, like, your ideas and their ideas are both combining to create this new church.
But so that sounds good to me. Like, but like primarily what I'm interested in as a player is whether or not I've managed to convince Robert to go see his family.
Oh, I don't know. Is that for me, the GM, to decide?
I don't know. I don't know if it is. I don't know how that works.
Is it your intention as this act? What is your actual? You only get one intention, and your intention is to change the church, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
I've been talking without pressing push to talk. I apologize.
Oh, what are you saying?
All right. Oops. I don't think you need to change your intention from what it was. I think Robert will do. I think you do convince him without needing to make it a mechanical intention, because I think as a player that's more interesting.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then Trek, you had a thing you wanted to do.
Yeah, I think Trek has been sitting in the back and realizes that this is sort of important to you, that these ideas be absorbed by the people hearing them. And when all is said and done, I think the people that have just heard this speech are going to be pushed into wandering the countryside, spreading your message.
Yeah, I was going to say, Trek would make an amazing missionary.
Oh my God, that's
So you're going to add your own miracle to this miracle synthesis?
Now, because this is because this is the modern day, does this wandering include both the physical world and digital world?
I mean, they're probably.
I would imagine.
Trek, totally
as a Nobilis, you can now like enter the internet, like just like go into the wires and wander in another third world, because you got the Nobilis world, the Earth, and then the internet now.
So I think after this debate, the woman with the goggles makes a gesture, and the choir starts singing, and the organ starts playing, and that's your cue that your speech is over, basically.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
And so,
I think I can't do it telepathically because I'm not linked to them, but just like I sort of casually walk up to next to them, to the two Nobilis, and ask them, like, so, what are your estates? Which this is probably like the first, like, what's your name for Nobilis? Like, what's your estate?
So the one with the goggles says, "I'm the power of music," and the one in the white robes
I had that idea for one before.
Says, "I'm the power of change."
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
And you are?
I lie to them. So I think Robert is still wearing the exact same suit that he somehow got a replica in this small town. It's probably like the only one available.
Right.
To him, being that it's not a $5,000 suit, but probably more like a $1,000 one, he can tell the difference, but no one would be able to. It's if this was like a costume design standpoint, there would be a small comment about him, about how the suit feels way cheaper, but from a production design standpoint, if this was a TV show, it would be literally the exact same suit.
Nice.
I think he lies and says, my estate is business.
Okay. Are you doing anything to like an intention about
Yes,
this miracle?
I have an intention of having them believe me. It's not a miracle. I'm not
Okay.
doing a miracle, just a regular action with my skill of lying of 5.
Okay, let me just check something here. 5 an aspect is there. Okay, yeah. So I think like the power of music is gonna know you're lying. She's not gonna say anything about it.
Okay, but the other one doesn't
Right.
change.
Change doesn't though.
I just thought of a thing. I'll get back to it later, but I just thought of a thing.
Yeah. We have 5 minutes, so do we want to stop so Zentropy
we
has
can
time
get
to
the end of
run
session
the
stuff.
television?
Yeah, I was
That
thinking.
would be most good.
Alright, cool. We'll talk about MP and Destiny and projects next time we meet. And
Good.
Okay, I thought we were stopping in time for that.
yeah, well we have time, but why make things stressful?
Because there's a minute and a half of the intro song. I'm fine either way.
Alright, yeah, let's just stop now. And yeah, that was cool. Thanks everybody for watching. I don't know what's going to happen next session at all. Like, I had a pretty good idea this week, but next session, I don't know.
That was good. That was that starting piece. Like, I found that like tough to figure out how to act in it, but I learned a ton about how to
Yeah.
and like how to play Nobilis in this session.
I think that for
was a good
me,
tip.
it's easier for me to be effective without learning as much because my character is the hammer. Like the aspect is the easiest way type of like what is it proper like the type of stat and the type of usage to wrap your mind around.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
I felt a little bit guilty because I understand the rules and therefore I can make my plans to take advantage of the rules the most. But
I think that's fine.
I think
honestly.
That's the GM's job, really, in any
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
Especially, with how it describes like what the Imperators are like in the Locust Court and all that. I think it makes sense that some things are just unfairly powerful.
Yeah.
That's kind of part of the world.
Yeah.
And
well, handled that perfectly.
Because I haven't explicitly said this mechanically, so just to be clear, at the beginning of the next session, I'd like to be continuing to sustain my aspect 6 miracle of unstoppable powerly starting a new religion.
Sure.
Or like
Excellent.
starting a movement within. I think it's a move Catholic.
I mean, you still want to, but like that. I think they're also going to like maintain their miracle of like, whoa, we need to be Catholic still, because they want to use the Catholic Church to spread their method. They don't.
They want to change the Catholic Church, not make a new thing.
Yeah, they don't want it to split off and be its own thing. They want to change the Catholic Church. So there is this.
Yeah, I'm fine with that actually. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. Okay.
There may be differences in where we want the Catholic Church to go, but that can be something we explore next session.
Also, I'm really sorry to all the Catholics out there. I totally respect your religion, but we're going to screw around a little bit.
This is totally. Yeah, this is fictional Catholicism. This isn't real world Catholicism.
Yeah. All right. Catch you guys next week, I hope.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.